Imagine a person who is constantly haunted by the opinions of others. Every negative comment disturbs his mind. Every sneering look reduces his self-confidence. His life is controlled by the expectations of others, not by the principles he believes in. Does this sound familiar? We live in a world filled with noise, social expectations, standards of success imposed by others, and the pressure to always fit in. As a result, many of us get caught up in unnecessary emotional turmoil. We get angry because someone criticized us, anxious because we fear failure, or disappointed because we don't get the recognition we desire. But does any of it really matter? Stoic philosophy teaches that the key to inner freedom is to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. The art of indifference does not mean being apathetic or unfeeling, but rather understanding that not everything is worthy of our emotional energy. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." So how can we master the art of not giving a damn in a healthy way? How can we stop being swayed by other people's opinions and start living by the values we hold dear? In this video, we'll explore 7 Stoic principles for mastering the art of not giving a damn, from understanding self-control to living life with unwavering calm. If you're ready to free yourself from unnecessary burdens and find true serenity, let's begin the journey. Part 1. Distinguishing what we can and cannot control. One of the basic principles of Stoicism is to distinguish between things that are within our control and things that are not. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, stated in the Enchiridion, "Some things are within our control and some are not. Within our control are our opinions, our impulses, our desires, and what we avoid. Not within our control are our bodies, our reputations, our positions, and what is not our own doing." Much of the emotional suffering we experience stems from a failure to understand this distinction. We often care too much about things beyond our control, such as the opinions of others, material success, or even external circumstances such as politics and the economy. Why should we focus on what we can control? Imagine someone who receives harsh criticism on social media. If she focuses on what she can't control, other people's opinions, she will continue to feel frustrated and anxious. However, if she realizes that all she can control is her reaction to the criticism, she can choose to stay calm and learn only from the criticism that is constructive. When we try to control something that is not in our control, we will only feel tired and stressed. On the other hand, if we direct our energy to things that we can actually control, we will become calmer and more efficient in living our lives. Control discernment exercise. To master the art of not caring in a healthy way, we need to practice distinguishing between what we can and cannot control. Here are some steps you can take. 1. Ask yourself, is this something within my control? If the answer is yes, focus on how you can respond wisely. If the answer is no, let go and accept that it is not your responsibility. 2. Use the circle control technique. Inner circle, things you can control, thoughts, reactions, efforts. Outer circle, things you can't control, other people's opinions, the weather, the results of your efforts. Whenever you face a difficult situation, ask yourself, which circle does this fall into? 3. Accept uncertainty with an open mind. Not everything will go our way, and that's okay. If we've done our best within our control, then the outcome is no longer our responsibility. Why do many people fail to implement this? Most people are too attached to their ego and their desire to control everything. They want everyone to like them, want the world to go their way, and want results to always match their expectations. This is an illusion. When we realize that we cannot control many things in life, there are 2 possible reactions: feeling hopeless or feeling liberated. Stoicism teaches us to choose the latter. Differentiating between what we can and cannot control is the first step in the art of not caring. By understanding this, we no longer get caught up in unnecessary negative emotions. We can focus on self-growth, live a more peaceful life, and no longer waste energy on useless things. In the next section, we will discuss how to build a mentality that is not easily shaken by other people's opinions. Part 2. Stop caring about other people's opinions. One of the biggest causes of anxiety in life is the fear of what others think. We worry about not being good enough, We worry about being criticized, or we worry that our choices don't fit social expectations. However, Stoicism teaches that caring too much about what others think will only make us lose control of ourselves. Why do we care so much? From a young age, we are taught to seek validation from outside, from parents, teachers, friends, and society. We want to be accepted, appreciated, and loved. But the problem arises when we place too much of our happiness on the approval of others. Marcus Aurelius in Meditations wrote, "Our time is limited. Don't spend it worrying about what other people think about us." When we constantly try to please everyone, we lose our sense of self. Our decisions are no longer based on what is right for us, but on the expectations of others. Why are other people's opinions not as important as we think? 1. People don't think that much about us. We often think that everyone is watching and judging us when in fact they are more busy with their own lives. Our worries are just illusions. 2. Opinions change. Today people may admire us, tomorrow they may sneer at us. If we base our happiness on the validation of others, we will always be swayed by their changing opinions. 3. We can't control other people's thoughts. No matter how hard we try, we can never control what other people think. So why should we care? How to stop caring about other people's opinions. 1. Set living standards based on your own principles. Don't let others determine what's important to you. Define your own values and live by them. 2. Realize that criticism is not harmful. Criticism is only harmful if you give it power. If it is constructive, use it to improve yourself. If not, ignore it. 3. Non-attachment practice. Whenever you feel bothered by other people's opinions, ask yourself, will this still be important in 5 years? Is this really affecting my life, or is it just my ego that is bruised? If I don't know what they think, will I still feel okay? 4. Be prepared to be disliked. If you stick to your principles and live the way you believe is right, there will be people who disagree or even dislike you. That is a natural part of life. If you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one, including yourself. Socrates was often criticized and even sentenced to death for his teachings. However, he remained steadfast in his principles until the end of his life. He did not let public opinion change what he believed was right. So too with other great figures, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca. They all faced criticism, but still lived their lives according to their own principles. Letting go of the fear of what others think is a huge step towards inner freedom. When we stop seeking external validation and focus on our values, we become calmer, stronger, and more authentic in our lives. In the next section, we will discuss how to deal with negative emotions in a wiser way. Part 3. Managing emotions wisely. In life, we are often faced with situations that trigger negative emotions: anger, disappointment, anxiety, or sadness. Many people get caught up in uncontrolled emotional outbursts, which ultimately only harm themselves. However, Stoic philosophy teaches that emotions are not something we should fight or suppress, but rather something we should manage wisely. Emotions are natural, but our reactions determine them. Epictetus said, "It's not events that make us angry, but how we interpret them. That is, it is not the event itself that makes us angry or sad, but rather how we see and react to it." For example, if someone criticizes us in public, we can choose to be offended and respond emotionally, or we can see it as an opportunity for introspection or to test our composure. Why emotions shouldn't control us. 1. Uncontrolled emotions make us act stupid. When we are angry, we often say things we regret. When we are afraid, we can miss great opportunities. If we always react impulsively, we will be easily manipulated by others and circumstances. 2. Emotions are temporary, but their impact can be long-lasting. Feelings of disappointment, anger, or anxiety may only last a moment, but the decisions we make in an emotional state can have long-term consequences. 3. Inability to control emotions makes life unrestful. If we always overreact to things that don't go as expected, we will constantly feel disturbed and lose our inner peace. How to manage emotions wisely? 1. Practice self-awareness. When you feel a negative emotion, pause and ask yourself, what really makes me feel this way? Is this a reasonable reaction or just a momentary impulse? By acknowledging emotions without immediately reacting, we give ourselves space to choose a more thoughtful response. 2. Use the mental distance technique. Imagine yourself as an outsider observing this situation. How would you advise someone going through something similar? This technique helps us see problems more objectively. rather than getting caught up in emotions. 3. Accept reality as it is. Many negative emotions arise because we reject reality. If we accept that life is full of uncertainties and events beyond our control, then we will not be easily shaken when things do not go as expected. Or use the "will this matter in 5 years" principle. When faced with a situation that makes our emotions explode, ask ourselves, will I still care about this in 5 years? Most of the things that make us angry or anxious today will seem irrelevant in the future. 5. Premeditatio malorum exercise. This is a Stoic technique where we imagine the worst possible outcome that could happen. By accepting that bad things can happen, we become more mentally prepared and less likely to be shocked or overreact. Marcus Aurelius did not let his emotions get the better of him. In Meditations, he wrote about the importance of facing each day with a calm and rational attitude, without being affected by the provocations or anger of others. If a Roman emperor facing war, betrayal, and great pressure could control his emotions, then we can learn to do the same in our daily lives. Managing emotions wisely does not mean suppressing or ignoring them, but understanding that we have control over how we respond to them. With self-awareness, mental exercises, and acceptance of reality, we can face life more calmly and not be easily carried away by harmful emotions. In the next section, we will discuss how to deal with failure and setbacks with a Stoic attitude. Part 4. Facing failure and setbacks with a Stoic attitude. In life, failure and setbacks are inevitable. No matter how hard we try, there will be times when things don't go as planned. However, what separates the resilient from the less resilient is how they respond to those setbacks. Stoic philosophy teaches that failure is not the end, but rather part of the journey toward wisdom and mental toughness. Failure is not the enemy, but the teacher. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as hard work strengthens the body." If we see failure as a threat, we will be afraid to take risks and give up easily. However, if we see it as an opportunity to learn, then every failure becomes a stepping stone to success. For example, Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing a working light bulb. When asked about his failure, he replied, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that don't work." This is the attitude taught in Stoicism, seeing failure as a learning process, not something to be feared or avoided. Why are people afraid of failure? 1. Injured ego. Many people identify themselves with their achievements. When they fail, they feel their self-esteem is destroyed. In fact, failure only shows that there is something that needs to be fixed, not that we are worthless. 2. Fear of being judged by others. Many people are reluctant to try something because they are afraid of what others will think if they fail. This goes back to the previous point about why we shouldn't care too much about other people's opinions. 3. Seeing failure as the end, not as a process. If we see failure as an end point, we will feel devastated. But if we see it as part of the journey, we will be able to bounce back more easily. How to face failure with a Stoic attitude. 1. Change perspective. Failure is a mental exercise. Every failure is an opportunity to practice mental resilience. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? The more often we face failure, the stronger our mentality becomes in dealing with it. 2. Accept reality. Life isn't always fair, and that's okay. Many people get angry when they experience setbacks because they feel it is unfair. However, Stoicism teaches that life does not owe us justice. All we can do is accept reality and adapt.
D. Focus on the process, not the result.
Failure often feels painful because we focus too much on the end result. If we turn our attention to the process and the effort we put in, failure won't feel as bad. Rise stronger, anti-fragile thinking. Don't just survive failure, use it to become stronger. Anti-fragile philosophy, a concept from Nassim Taleb which has similarities to Stoicism, teaches that adversity is not just something we have to deal with, but something that can make us stronger if we use it correctly. This means that obstacles are not something we should avoid, but rather something we should use as a path to growth. Failure and setbacks are a natural part of life. However, if we approach them with a Stoic attitude, we can see them as opportunities for growth, rather than as something that will destroy us. By changing our perspective, accepting reality, and moving forward with mental resilience, we can use failure as a tool for greater success. In the next section, we will discuss how to live a life of simplicity and focus on what really matters. Part 5. Living life with simplicity and focusing on what's important. In a world full of distractions and greed, many people think that happiness comes from having more money, more recognition, more luxury goods. But Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. True happiness comes from simplicity and the ability to focus on what really matters. Seneca once said, "It is not the person who has little who is poor, but the person who continues to feel that he lacks." In other words, true poverty is not a lack of material things, but the inability to feel content with what we have. Why is simplicity important? Reduce mental burden. The more we have, the more we have to worry about. A big house needs maintenance. Expensive things need security, and a good reputation needs to be maintained. By living more simply, we free ourselves from unnecessary worries. 2. Avoiding slavery to desire. Many people think, "I would be happy if I had this or that." However, after getting what they want, they feel empty again and chase after something else. Stoicism teaches that true happiness does not come from external things, but from the inner peace that comes from feeling content. 3. It's easier to focus on meaningful things. By letting go of the unimportant things, we can focus more on what truly adds value to life, like meaningful relationships, self-growth, and inner peace. How to live a life of simplicity. 1. Differentiate between needs and wants. Before buying or pursuing something, ask, do I really need this, or do I just want it because of social influence? If the answer is simply a desire driven by ego or prestige, consider letting it go. 2. Practice voluntary poverty. Seneca often slept on the floor or ate simple food for several days to train himself not to depend on luxuries. You could try something similar, like going a week without buying anything but the bare necessities, or cutting back on excessive social media consumption. 3. Reduce dependence on other people's recognition. Many people pursue success not because they truly want it, but because they want to be recognized by others. If you can feel content without having to seek external validation, you have achieved true freedom. 4. Practice gratitude every day. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, take time to be grateful for what you already have in your life. Even simple things like the air you can breathe or the food you can eat. 5. Create space for meaningful things. Reduce consumption of things that do not bring real benefits, whether it is in the form of goods, entertainment, or even unhealthy relationships. Use time and energy for things that really give meaning to your life, such as learning, contributing to others, or developing yourself. Simplicity doesn't mean poor life or refusing comfort, but about understanding what really matters and releasing attachment to things that don't bring true happiness. With a simpler life, we can focus more on self-growth, inner peace, and true freedom. In the next part, we will discuss how to accept uncertainty and live life with courage. Part 6. Accepting uncertainty and living life with courage. One of the main sources of human anxiety is uncertainty. We want to have full control over the future, avoid risks, and ensure that things go according to plan. However, the reality of life does not work like that. No matter how hard we strive, there are always things that are beyond our control: health, economy, weather, or even other people's actions. Stoicism teaches that rather than being afraid of uncertainty, we must learn to accept it and live life with courage. As Epictetus said, "Don't expect everything to happen as you wish, but accept everything as it is, and your life will be at ease." Why should we accept uncertainty? 1. Because no one can really control the future. We can make the best plans, but there are always external factors that can change everything. If we accept that life is full of uncertainty, we will not be easily disappointed when something does not go according to plan. 2. Because the change was unavoidable. Everything in life always changes: health, relationships, work, and even ourselves. Fighting changes will only bring suffering, while accepting changes gracefully will give us peace. 3. Because fear of uncertainty only inhibits life. Many people dare not take new steps for fear of failure or fear of leaving the comfort zone. If we can accept that failure and uncertainty are a natural part of life, we will be more daring to take chances. How to live life with courage. 1. Focus on what can be controlled. Epictetus divides life into 2 parts. Things we can control: our thoughts, actions, reactions. Things we can't control: other people's opinions, the results of our efforts, unexpected events. By only focusing on what we can control, we can live more calmly and not easily frustrated. To practice the mentality of amor fati, loving destiny. Amor fati is a Stoic concept that means accepting everything that happens in life, good or bad, with a positive attitude. It's not just accepting, but also loving all events as part of the journey of life. 3. Practice facing uncertainty. Start by taking small risks in daily life, such as trying new things or getting out of routine. It will train our mental to be more flexible in the face of unexpected things. 4. Don't wait for certainty to act. Many people delay decisions or actions because they wait for the right time. Stoicism teaches that the right time may never come, so we have to act now with the information we have. 5. Accept death as part of life. One of the greatest uncertainties that people often fear is death. Stoicism teaches that death is something natural and nothing to fear. By accepting death, we can actually appreciate life more. Many major figures in history, such as Nelson Mandela or Viktor Frankl, also implement the principle of Stoicism by accepting uncertainty and facing life with courage, even in the most difficult situation. Uncertainty is not something to be afraid of, but something to be accepted as a part of life. By focusing on what we can control, practice amor fati, and act without waiting for certainty, we can live life more calmly and bravely. In the last part, we will discuss how to find true meaning in life with Stoic principles. Part 7. Finding true meaning in life with Stoic principles. Many people spend their lives looking for meaning, whether it is through a certain career, wealth, love, or achievement. However, the question is, does the meaning of life come from something outside of us, or is it something we should create ourselves? Stoic philosophy teaches that the meaning of life is not determined by external factors, but by how we live our lives every day. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Your life is only for a moment. Use the time there is to do something meaningful." Meaning is not something we find passively. We have to create it with actions, wisdom, and contribution to the world. Why do many people feel lost in meaning? 1. They chase the wrong thing. Many people think that the meaning of life is in money, status, or fame. But when they got it, they still felt empty. Stoicism teaches that the meaning of life is not about external achievements, but about how we live life with wisdom and virtue. 2. They are trapped in an unintended routine. Life filled with meaningless work, shallow relationships, or habits that do not build will make someone feel empty. Without awareness of deeper values, life only feels like a routine repeated every day without direction. 3. They are afraid to take responsibility for their own lives. Many people wait for something or someone gives them the meaning of life, instead of creating the meaning itself. Stoicism teaches that we are responsible for the meaning of our own lives. How to find true meaning in life with Stoic principles. 1. Live with virtue, virtue first. Stoicism emphasizes that the only truly valuable thing is to live with virtue. The 4 main virtues of Stoic are wisdom, using common sense to make the right decision; courage, facing life's challenges with determination; justice, be fair to yourself and others; temperance, not excessive in pursuing pleasure or avoiding difficulties. If we hold on to this virtue, we will never feel the loss of meaning in life. 2. Do good to others. Epictetus said, "We weren't born just for ourselves." One of the best ways to find meaning is to benefit others, through kindness, wisdom, or contribution in any form. 3. Accept fate, but don't be passive, amor fati, plus proactive. Stoicism teaches to love destiny, amor fati, but that doesn't mean we just surrender to life. We must accept what cannot be changed, but still act as best we can to make a difference in the world. 4. Live life with full awareness, mindfulness, and reflection. Every day, take the time to ask, am I living today with the values I believe in? Have I done anything meaningful today? Marcus Aurelius every night writes reflection on his life, something we can practice as well. 5. Don't delay to live with meaningful. Many people think, I will look for meaning later after I succeed, after I have time. Stoicism reminds that life is short and unpredictable. The meaning of life must be created now, not later. Marcus Aurelius is an emperor who could live only for luxury and power, but he chooses to live life meaningfully through service to the people and self-reflection. Viktor Frankl, a psychologist who survived the Nazi concentration camp, found that people who have meaning in life are more capable of surviving in difficult situations. He said, "People who have reasons to live can face almost everything, no matter what the circumstances." The meaning of life is not about what we have, but about how we choose to live. The meaning of life is not something given to us, but something we create ourselves the way we live. By living life based on virtue, contributing to others, accepting destiny, and living with full awareness, we can find true satisfaction. Stoicism teaches that the meaning of life is not about external achievements, but about how we live every day with the right values and principles.